Well, we've got our first team out. 3 teams remain in the North American bracket here. M2KC are through, and this is a very interesting situation because M2KC and Method Orange are the 2 teams that are kind of in that place where they... You okay, Seeker?
Sorry, we were having a staring contest.
Having a stare down.
Who won?
Sid lost.
Okay. He laughed first, but I looked away.
I'm glad that we got that sorted because we also have M2KC through. We've got the staring contest going in favor of Zico, so at least Europe's winning something here at the Arena World Championship. And now we have our next series. The 2 unbeaten teams, though, very close series. Of course, Cloud9 almost lost to the move. That would have completely shook up qualification. And Method Orange beat the boys. So these are the best of the best in North America for this cup.
Yeah, and I think, well, I mean, we've already talked about historically how Cloud9 has essentially farmed Method Orange, so we don't really need to dig into that too much, but I think Method Orange are going to beat Cloud9 in a narrow 3-2 series and thus secure the trifecta of Method winning the World First Race, the EU Cup, and the NA Cup.
So, this is actually something I want to point out before the match starts is Method Orange, they're playing with the Shaman. They need the extra little bit of aggression with the Purge, with the Wind Shear. But Trill, he's also playing a very interesting build. And this is something I talked about with Sea-Doo. Instead of playing the Storm, Earth, and Fire, which is really susceptible to Frost Novas and Roots, he's playing Serenity. And I think he's playing the Vision of Perfection as well. So you can actually Vision of Perfection, Serenity, get out a lot of Rising Sun kicks in a short period of time, and you can put out massive bursts with this build.
Doesn't that also reset the cooldown?
Of what?
Of Serenity.
The Vision of Perfection?
Yeah.
So it just procs it.
Okay.
Oh, it makes it a lower cooldown. It also has a chance to
it makes it a lower cooldown. So it'll throw it off cadence a little bit. This is actually really nice. I like this idea. This is Method. So this has actually been the North American approach to the Rogue Mage meta is rather than what we've seen in Europe, some teams just going for more damp. Actually, some teams are just going full aggression. You know, we see Sea-Doo playing the Shaman, so in the late game he'll have some mana left hopefully, and he'll be able to go for a little bit more Purge all-ins. And Trill with the Serenity. Granted, it doesn't really do too much early in the game, but it will lead to some opportunities potentially for Method Orange.
Yeah, and that was the first Serenity of the game right there. Not able to find too much pressure at the back of that one. The Ironbark was forced out. Trill also used his Gladiator's Medallion to break out of Snuts' smoke bomb right there. But Snuts held on to his Vendetta here. Sea-Doo's already triggered it out of a blind. So when Cubsy, you can see his positioning right now. He's moving towards and the bash right there. If Wealthyman can secure a polymorph of this, that could be big trouble here onto Trill. Snuts, he could be pulling the Vendetta cooldown right there. There's the Icy Veins as well. Trill gonna respond with the Touch of Karma. Mez as well, backing him up with the Anti-Magic Zone. The Diffuse Magic's being traded out, so basically every single defensive cooldown. And Cubsy gets the Low Cyclone. There's a DR Polymorph here over onto Sea-Doo. He should be breaking out of that one quickly here. Sea-Doo has a lot of work to do here. The Essence of Flame right there, helping Sea-Doo out, chopping Trill off. And that was the Spirit Walker's Grace as well, which grants an immunity to interrupt effects. And now Trill on the offense here, that was his Touch of Death. This is the Serenity, big push here for Method Orange, but doesn't look like they can quickly, that they can dent the defense of Wealthyman right now.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, considering how much we built it up, I'm very disappointed by these one-shots from Trill so far. Every single time Cubsy just matches it with Ironbark, we see Temporal Shield, we see Ice Barrier. They haven't even got so far as the Gladiator's Safeguard from Wealthyman so far, so we'll have to see how this does play out later into dampening. Let's talk about good things for Method Orange. The Shaman is working out very well. The mana bar is fantastic, 80% plus mana versus Cubsy's low mana. Cubsy is just going to be able to get drinks though, but I think that's fine for the Shaman team. The Shaman team knows that in deep dampening, that's where they're going to win. They're not going to go stopping Cubsy too much. The diseases from Mez will do a little bit of work there. Blind onto Sea-Doo, he trinkets out. It's just about surviving for Method Orange. If they can keep playing this very well in terms of defense, rotating, then I think they will win the game, or at least have a very good chance at winning the game late. Snuts recognizing this is actually trying to harass Sea-Doo a little bit on that Shaman.
Yeah, and Cubsy did sit down for a drink there. He wasn't able to completely reset his mana bar. Mez did shut that down, but he did manage to get some. And both of these healers are running the Essence that restores mana here, so they're going to be getting a lot of procs. You can see, actually, Sea-Doo is running that Spirit Link-esque essence that we saw Gorecki run. So pretty interesting builds all around here. We're gonna have to keep an eye open and see what happens here. Now Trill caught up in a kidney shot. The frozen orb gets dropped. Sea-Doo though deflecting with that earthen wall totem, and now Trill is looking to aggress. Here is the temporal shield. Sea-Doo purges it off. Beautifully done here. Now Trill has a lot of offense available with that Serenity. Diffuse magic out of a Nova. There it is. Paralyzed over onto Cubsy. A lot of damage here onto Wealthy Man. And now this is what I want to see from Method Orange. They force out the Iron Bark right there without committing the Serenity. Actually did commit the Serenity at the end of it, but they net Cubsy's Trinket at the end of that push. So it's looking interesting for Method Orange. If they can purge off these temporal shields, that is potential win condition for them. Now Snut's building up a lot of pressure, and Mez and Trill just with pure damage able to get Wealthy Man's first ice block before dampening is even in the game. Now Sea-Doo in a little bit of trouble here. Might have to use his Astral Shift, but preemptive Ghost Wolf there. Nice place from Sea-Doo. He's going to keep him alive for now.
Yeah, honestly, I've been so impressed by Trill in this matchup. He played that perfectly. He Ring of Peace Snuts into a double leg sweep, then he ports back, gets the disarm. Meanwhile, offensively, he didn't even use his Touch of Death to get the ice block from Wealthy Man, now committing it, but unfortunately to no avail. Temporal Shield to answer that. It took them a little bit too much time to set up that win condition, but still, very good, lively play from Method Orange in the start of this one. Dampening hasn't even started yet. They've already forced an ice block, they've already forced the Trinket. Cubsy's clearly being taxed on mana despite those drinks, and Sea-Doo, he's sitting pretty. Snuts tried for a play on him, didn't manage to get it. Trill with a great Transcendence disarm to deny that, and Method Orange, you know, they're looking like a different team here. They beat the boys, they want to prove themselves. The defending BlizzCon champions want to prove themselves that they're not just an average, you know, barely qualifying to the finals team. They are a top dog in North America, and if they could beat Cloud9 here, that would be excellent proof of that.
A lot of pressure onto Wealthy Man. Sea-Doo once again purging off that temporal shield. If he can get the ice barrier as well, that's going to be big trouble. Cubsy holding on to his Iron Bark, but that means his mana is getting taxed. Cubsy realizes he needs to keep a defensive positioning, and nice cross kick there from Maz into the paralyze of Trill. Gonna force out another ice block from Wealthy Man. This is looking like the old Method Orange of Legion, the one that won Spring BlizzCon, sorry. Trill, once again, Transcendence back to the pillar, gets a kidney shot from Snuts, and now looking to make his way back in there, trying to get offensive. Sea-Doo as well, backing his team up, realizing Cubsy wants to go for drinks here. Cubsy proccing a little bit of mana here, but it's not looking too great. You don't want to be tied with the Shaman, and now Sea-Doo sending his Earth Elemental over onto Cubsy, as you can see right there at the back of your screen, is going to mean that Cubsy can no longer go for a drink without committing his Shadow Melt for about 40 seconds. So nicely done here by Method Orange. They have 40 seconds now to just focus on building pressure, bashing the Polymorph into DR Polymorph from Wealthy Man. He's going to secure a little bit of pressure on the Trill. He doesn't have Touch of Karma, but a beautiful double leg sweep, Touch of Death, Serenity. Wealthy Man could just explode. Cubsy Trinkets out of the paralyze. Do they have enough damage to take Wealthy Man down? And for the first time ever, beat C9 here.
Yeah, I mean, it's the purges coming in from Sea-Doo. This is all in offense. NA Zug Zug going for the kill on Wealthy Man. Cubsy, he has no mana. He can't keep up. Win share from Sea-Doo, and Method Orange have won the first game in this series. Nagrand Arena goes in their favor. They find the pick. Absolutely incredible. I really was starting to think that Windwalker Death Knight just cannot win this matchup. The Serenity from Trill, the Restoration Shaman is the answer seemingly, at least in game one, but Cloud9, you know, they're going to be a little taken back, but they're going to improve quickly. They're going to figure out an answer for this strategy, or at least the game. Surely, I mean, there must be something here.
I don't know. I mean, when we saw the boys play against Cloud9, the Windwalker Death Knight versus the Mage Lock Druid, the boys are actually winning those matchups. They had a lot of pressure on Chanimals, and if Method Orange can, you know, play at that same level, and it's looking like they really can. I mean, Method Orange, like you said, they're looking like a brand new team. They're coming in with new strategy, surprises Cloud9 has really never seen before. I really like the Serenity adaptation from Trill. All of a sudden, his offensive cooldown isn't something that's just sitting in a Frost Nova. He can actually get out a ton of damage. In that game, he was by far and away the highest damage in that match, and you could tell, I mean, Cubsy's mana, it was taxed. Wealthy Man was having to trade out his ice blocks outside of the Touch of Death windows, which is really rare.
Yeah, and that's the main thing here. When you activate Touch of Death with Serenity, with the Fortifying Brew, I mean, Trill is just doing so much damage. Sea-Doo here as well. Snuts forced to sheep shot him to prevent these purges. Wealthy Man would have just died if it wasn't for that. And you got to shout out Mez as well here on this DK, having so much uptime, and the cross kicks, meaning that he's using his kick over onto Cubsy instead of Wealthy Man, were so crucial as well to a lot of their pressure. Time and time again, he gets those mind freezes over onto Cubsy. He gets the paralyze from Trill to back him up as an extended CC there, and that is what net them a lot of those ice blocks prior to this. So really, really nice execution here in game number 1 from Method Orange. We're going to see if Cloud9 can figure out a way to bounce back.
Yeah, actually all 3 members just all over that kill. They really knew what they were doing. Every single talent choice made sense, and you could clearly tell they had a vision of how they won the game, and they just played to that. Very well executed there by Method Orange. But Cloud9, they have 2 more, they have 2 more chances of losing before they'll actually drop down in the series here. Have to see what they do come up with. Tolveron, unsurprisingly, the map hit, Sid.
Yep, classic Cloud9 map, as their main strategy is just drag the game on, avoid the fight as long as possible, and then try and close out the game deeper into dampening. But this new build from Trill on the Windwalker is throwing a wrench in their plan. They can't stall it out nearly as long. Cubsy's running out of mana. Wealthy Man is forced to use ice blocks much sooner, so I do imagine that they are going to be considering at least attempting the Mage Warlock Druid at some point, since that was their most confident answer for the melee cleaves in the past.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting point, if the Mage Warlock might come out here from Cloud9. That was the comp they've been dominating with, but so far in the meta, I'm curious if this kind of all-in play for Method Orange would be good even into that. I mean, the Shaman, he brings good offense. Maybe they would struggle still to kind of contend with the Wizards in midfield for too long.
You are really susceptible to the crowd control as a Restoration Shaman. If Method Orange can hold on, theoretically, with the purges, you could push through. You could potentially take Chanimal down. If you're getting those heal over time effects off of Cubsy and you actually can sustain your mana in the long term, it's still really dangerous. And at this point, we really haven't seen Method Orange beat the Mage Lock Druid with their Windwalker Death Knight, but if I'm being honest, I feel like Method Orange Windwalker Death Knight really fell off earlier on in the season. They were not impressive to me, but now this is looking like their old self. You can really tell that they put in a lot of work. They're back in full fighting form, and they're looking like they could potentially reclaim their throne of the best Windwalker Death Knight. Yeah,
very much so. The boys already got eliminated. Resurgent already got eliminated. If Method Orange are the team that finds an answer for the Rogue Mage, then that would be huge. I think a lot of teams would start emulating their strategy. And as we're so close to the summer finals, these sort of meta shifts are very important to watch for both regions. Europe and North America will be watching the series very closely.
It's actually really surprising Cloud9 decided to go with the Rogue Mage Druid. This is something that's interesting about Cloud9 is when they have a composition they like, they just stick with it. It was that way back when they played Rogue Lock Shaman, when they played Windwalker Lock Shaman, when they played the Mage Lock Druid, when they played the Rogue Mage Druid. It just seems like no matter what, they're going to be sticking with that option. And I feel like this is playing into exactly what Method Orange wants to play against. They want to play into this Rogue Mage Druid. That's why they crafted the strategy with this composition, with these talent picks. Worked out well in game number 1. We'll have to see what they can get done in Tolveron Arena, or if Cloud9's going to be able to start battling it back.
Yeah. I really feel like this strategy would work against the Mage Lock Druid as well, though. I feel like if they make a push on Chanimal and deep dampening, there's going to be such overwhelming damage. And in the past, it's been all about the Touch of Death being traded for Ironbark, and then you don't really have too much more burst. But if Trill stacks those cooldown in deep dampening, they can just kill him through it, or if he spaces them out, I feel like it creates windows where they can really get those kills. So I think this is going to be a very telling game here for Cloud9. If Method Orange can beat them on the largest map in the pool, all of a sudden, Method Orange has a really winning shot at this cup.
Definitely do. This could be the answer for the Rogue Mage Druid. Potentially. Already good aggression on towards Wealthy Man. Temporal Shield explodes along with the Gladiator Safeguard. Gladiator Safeguard probably the major objective before the ice blocks to actually force. Ironbark now out of the way, although Trill being counter-aggressed needs to be a bit careful. Stunned out in midfield by Snuts. Wealthy Man looking for the closing kill with that Ice Lance, but not finding it. Crowd control is disrupted by Mez. Snuts tries to get follow-up with the blind. Gladiator's Medallion going to exchange fairly for that. Trill retreating back with Sea-Doo and looking to recover.
Yeah, Trill's actually playing both defensive trinkets. So he's got the Notorious Gladiator's emblem as well as the Gladiator's safeguard. So he realizes he's probably going to be the only target that can fall in this match, opting to build his character around pure defense, actually not using Vision of Perfection as his main Azerite trait. I'll get back to that in a moment. If Trill actually manages to survive this, as a polymorph on Sea-Doo, he's in a lot of trouble. The Diffused Magic already trades in. Sea-Doo forced to trade out the Spiritling Totem. And this match is looking completely different. Trill's going to have to stabilize. He's got the Touch of Karma rolling up in around 22 seconds, but he's caught in a kidney shot, and he could easily just fall here.
Cloud9 are just playing a lot more aggressive here. Trill trying to Transcendence back to Sea-Doo's side, but Counterspell up and Kick is up, so Sea-Doo needs to avoid 2 interrupts. Trill is trying to stall and cross the map with Sea-Doo. Flying Serpent Kick, as we see Trill and Sea-Doo going to be tag teaming the defensive duo. Mez is doing his best to disrupt and prevent Cloud9 from connecting. Trill likely to start getting aggressive here soon, but that Smoke Bomb is still a threat. Vendetta up in 20. Perhaps Trill will continue to wait and just allow Mez to do some heavy lifting until his defense is available.
Yeah, I really like Trill's build. He's playing triple Impassive Visage. He's got double Azerite Veins, so a lot of the sort of stall-based defensive Azerite traits to keep himself alive in a matchup like this, playing the Orc Windwalker Monk, and I feel like he really can do it. If he plays well with his defensive cooldowns, rotates them properly with Sea-Doo, he can live a really long time against Rogue Mage.
Yeah, and right now they're making another push here. This is it. This is the Serenity that we've been talking about. Cubsy deflecting with the Iron Bark, though. But that means Trill now has a window with his Touch of Death to force out an Ice Block. If Sea-Doo is there to purge out, ice barriers and some healing over time effects, that could potentially be it. Trill, Fortifying Brew, there's the Touch of Death.
Whoa!
Ice barrier. The Touch of Death's not even going to go off before Wealthy Man has to Ice Block. And this is what we've been talking about. Having that Serenity to space out with that Touch of Death just creates so much more pressure. But that was also the Fortifying Brew, which is a defensive talent for Trill. So potential there for Snuts as well to punish.
Yeah, he's using the Fortifying Brew and the Battle Master's Trinket, so he's getting a massive increase in his health, which means a massive increase with his Touch of Death. So, fading out the Iron Bark with Serenity works out really well when you can, hit with 100,000 Touch of Death after that. We'll have to see if this is going to continue to work for Method Orange. Trill in some trouble, trades out the Touch of Karma. A little bit of damage rolling now onto Wealthy Man, but Trill is still the one in trouble. Good crowd control coming in here from Cloud9. They're looking to reverse the pressure. Trill in a lot of trouble. Sea-Doo has to trick it out, but he doesn't have much healing. There's no Ascendance. There's no Spiritling Totem. Trill, what are you going to do? He's playing aggressive. He disarms Snuts. Now Transcendencing away. Sea-Doo still in crowd control. Ray of Frost channeling out. Nice interrupt there by Trill with that Ring of Peace. And Trill's been doing a great job defensively in this match. Kidney Shot going to land on Snuts. He's trying to slow down Trill just a little bit. He's been able to run too much in this matchup, but with that Earthen Wall Totem, he should be able to survive. And if we look at mana, once again, Method Orange, if they can hold on, they'll have a mana lead. And these burst cooldowns coming up for Trill are just going to be so scary again for Cloud9.
Sea-Doo throwing out the Earth Elemental to try and keep Cubsy in combat. I'm curious how Cubsy actually used Shadow Melt to drop it. Now the Earth Elemental going back onto Cubsy. Very important as the Shaman to use that Earth Elemental to stop the Druid from drinking, because Cubsy is already actually so far behind on mana, down 1 Ice Block. Cloud9 not in a good position considering this is their best map. Perhaps Cloud9 will be forced to change their strategies and no longer focus on their all-out defense and survival-based tactics. Cloud9 are mixing it up. They're attacking Mez, although it seems a bit early, not even into dampening at this point. I think it's unlikely that we see Mez go down, and leaving Trill open with this Serenity build could be dangerous. Trill and Mez both connecting, and as immediately as I say that, they both get crowd controlled. Sea-Doo going to be trinketing out of blind, activating that Gladiator's Maledict, trying to absorb some heals on Wealthy Man for a push. Cubsy denying the push with Iron Bark. Mez kept at bay by Snuts in a stun. A decent amount of damage onto Mez pre-dampening. Perhaps if Cloud9 can hold on a tad bit longer, they certainly can exploit the Death Knight as a target deeper on into dampening.
Yeah, but that's Iron Bark, and Trill, look what he's got available. He's got the Serenity. He's going to pull the trigger. Big Rising Sun kicks, big Fist of Fury. Wealthy Man, how are you going to hold on? Cubsy spamming out heals. Sea-Doo not in a position just yet. And actually grapple weapon used onto Wealthy Man. Bit of a misplay there by Trill, unfortunately. Not going to really matter that much, but this is a massive offensive push. Touch of Death hit from Trill. Wealthy Man holds on. Cubs used a lot of mana to keep him alive, but Sea-Doo also used a lot of mana purging in that situation, and now he's actually put himself on an even foot with Cubsy.
Yeah, but Cubsy is the one who expends his mana much quicker. Mez is also playing that transfusion, so he's going to have massive death strikes here. Wealthy Man, no mobility. Cubsy's Iron Bark just rotated back up, has to use it immediately. Mez caught up in a kidney shot, still has both of his stun breakers, that Icebound Fortitude and that Gladiator's Medallion. Now Wealthy Man with another blink right there. Now Trill and Mez should have a lot of uptime if Sea-Doo can assist with a wind shear, or if they can connect anything onto Cubsy. That could be another ice block. Wealthy Man taking a lot of damage. There it is. Grip, leg sweep. Wealthy Man trades out his ice block. Cubsy has no trinket. Nice capstone.
No mana.
Snuts taking so much damage. No mana onto Cubsy. Anyone can go down here. I think Wealthy Man is in big trouble.
If they lose on their best map, that is devastating. Method Orange may have cracked the code if they can hold on a bit longer. Mez in trouble here, although I don't think dampening nearly high enough for him to ultimately go down. Sea-Doo going to trade Spearlink Totem to get aggressive. Wind shearing Cubsy on the heel. Two members of the team are low, and Trill with Serenity in another minute is going to be a big threat. Touch of Death in 30 seconds. Mez is trying to really do some damage here with the Abomination activated, making a big push. Unfortunately, it's sitting in a Frost Nova. Defensive blind, panic mode for Cloud9 onto Trill to try and stall, but how much longer can they stall? Cubsy is just completely out of mana. Ice Barrier absorbing some of this damage, but now Cubsy continues to get crowd controlled into the paralysis. And Wealthy Man is taking unhealable damage, and Method Orange have done it. They've cracked the code, and perhaps we now have the counter.
Someone has found an answer for Rogue Mage. It's time to rejoice, I feel like, almost. Method Orange with a 2-0 lead against Cloud9. 3 classes. There's no Mage in the arena. There's no Druid on their side. It's the DK, the Windwalker, and the Restoration Shaman. And I mean, I gotta hand it to the Restoration Shaman pick, because Sea-Doo is probably so happy that the class he's using to win this series is his main class. It is that Shaman.
Maybe he shouldn't have been so quick to give up on it.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, it's looking good here. Who would have known that would have been the answer? It just felt like for the longest time, the Rogue Mage Druid, they were able to stall out the game, and it didn't feel like the Windwalker Death Knight had enough pressure. But when you charge in, your midfield, Wealthy Man's on the back foot, you can assist with purges and wind shears. You can use grounding to slow down incoming polymorphs. It's looking good for Method Orange. I mean, this just makes so much sense. Wealthy Man's really struggling in this matchup. Cubsy as well. I mean, look, he's just tapped on mana. He's fallen further and further behind. Iron Bark really the last thing he can use. And eventually, it's just overwhelming damage. Trill kind of realizing that he just has to hold on a little bit longer, keep Mez alive. He's throwing in some of the Effuses or Vivifies to keep Mez up, and then they can make their final push.
Yeah, and even through that defensive blind, just because of the pressure that they've had throughout the match, they're just able to secure the win. And I mean, Sea-Doo, he goes for the offensive purges, and it just pays off right there as well. They still have that classic CC chain as well of the in-cap into the cap, which is essentially 2 instant crowd controls. You know, that stun totem that triggers after a second, AOE stun that Shaman has, combined with the paralyze from the Monk. It's a very potent combo that they were utilizing in Legion when they were playing a lot of Windwalker DK with the Shaman. So I feel like this comp has, you know, a nice mix of ranged interrupt. It has good mana as well, and purges on that mage. That is the winning recipe, because all of a sudden, instead of having to go through the barrier and the temporal shield and, you know, the ice blocks and the iron bark, you just use Serenity. Okay, that's Iron Bark. Okay, Touch of Death with Battle Masters, with the Fortifying Brew, increasing your HP, which makes your Touch of Death do more damage. All of a sudden, that's something that's going to net you a nice block if you have the purges to back that up. So this was also on the biggest map. This is looking great for Method Orange. Yeah. And for everyone who's been looking for the Rogue Mage Druid count. They're like Wildcard Gaming. They're sitting like this right now.
Yeah, Looney won BlizzCon on a Restoration Shaman. He's glued to his screen right now, seeing how the teams are able to do it. And I'm very curious if European teams will be able to replicate this, because obviously the way Europe plays Rogue Mage is different to Cloud9. The way they play Cleaves is also different to Method Orange. So we'll have to see how it does play out. I'm actually super excited to see how someone like M2KC could potentially answer this. We'll have to see how that one is. Method Orange are 2-0 up in this series, looking to knock Cloud9 down to lower. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Arena World Championship, where something quite strange is happening, actually. We've got a Rogue Mage 2-0 down to the Windwalker Death Knight Shaman from Method Orange. It's not something that I certainly expected at the start, though. I've got a feeling Venruki did, because you play a lot with these guys. You play the Windwalker. I know you talk strategies with them, and you were really happy to see some of the strategies that they're playing in this series.
Well, it's just after last week, a lot of the healers were I was talking to, Gorvecki and, Sidu, and they were kind of talking about how maybe the Restoration Shaman will be their best bet. It can go a little bit longer into dampening, and then of course you have those offensive purges. We know how good Temporal Shield is, how good Ice Barrier is, and if you can get those off, you have a lot more windows of opportunity to actually get burst out. And then of course we talked a little bit with Sidu, or I talked a little bit about Sidu with that Serenity build. It seems like Storm, Earth, and Fire, the images are completely useless. It's a cooldown you use. If a mage is good and he presses Nova, you lose damage. It's an offensive cooldown that actually makes you do less damage, because if your images aren't hitting, you're just kind of a potato hitting for 40% of your normal damage, right? Yeah. So if you can't utilize that effective burst, all of a sudden, you lose out on a huge opportunity. That's why I think Serenity in general is just good against these Frost Mage teams, especially when all they're trying to do is survive and attrition as long as possible. Something that was actually pointed out to me on Twitter as well is that Mez is playing kind of an interesting talent. It's an honor talent called Necromancer's Bargain. It reduces the cooldown on your Apocalypse, but it makes it so your Apocalypse no longer summons ghouls. And I think this is particularly effective against Wealthy Man on the Frost Mage, because normally as a mage you want to be blizzarding, and that blizzard is going to reset your Frozen Orb, which gives you a lot of instant cast damage potential on top of those kidney shots. But the fact that Trill with no Storm, Earth, and Fire, and now all of a sudden Mez, he doesn't have as many ghouls out on the map, makes it a lot more difficult for Wealthy Man to get that kind of burst potential out. And Method Orange, they came with a very well-constructed plan, and it's paying off. Yeah, you can tell all three members of Method Orange really sat home, looked for every single talent, looked for every single nugget of their build, and have found answers. And I remember I was talking to Vanguards yesterday behind the scenes. He's one of our observers, and I was just talking about Ret Paladin in general, like when was the last time the Ret Paladin was one of the meta compositions? And he said one of the big things is that Ret Hunter was always the good composition, right? But since Hunter's lost Purge, I believe it was in Mr. Pandaria, they've struggled so much with these mage teams because of the Temporal Shield, because of the Ice Barrier, and it actually makes so much sense. Sidu coming in on the Shaman, Gorecki coming in on the Shaman. These North American teams really seem to be onto something here. Yeah, and North America, they do love their Shamans. Always been, a big pick here. We got to give a shout out to Tana.
Yeah, that's true. Tana has been holding it down in Europe. He's been the only...
Yeah. I gotta say it. I just gotta say it.
That is true. That is true.
Everyone else gave up on it
as well, actually. Yeah. Enlight in general.
Enlight should just move to North America. I feel like they did great.
They fit in perfectly. So, North America, they've always been about their Shamans, and even the healers right now that are playing Resto Druid, people like Cubsy, people like Gorecki, they've always had that in their back pocket as well. So definitely interesting to see how this plays out. And I gotta agree with this build, because Storm, Earth, and Fire, it just doesn't do anything against these mages. Time and time again, you see they're trying to set up for this situation where you're getting to a mage, he doesn't have blinks, you summon the images, and then you get that big Fist of Fury with like 16 hands. But unfortunately, there's one Frost Nova. That's it. That's all you need to shut it down. And if you use your Nova Breaker, it only does it on yourself as a Windwalker anyway. So you can't really free up those images. So Serenity, it's been paying off big time here for Trill, and Mez's build as well. I believe it does percentage-based damage as well, right? The Necromancer's Bargain, it puts up a Plague.
Crypt Fever.
Yeah, it puts up Crypt Fever, draining, 8%, I think it said?
Maximum health over 4 seconds.
Yeah, so it's very, very nice stuff coming in from Method Orange. And we talked about it, we were almost joking about it earlier in the day, the idea of this trifactor. Method wins the world first race, Method Black wins in Europe, and now suddenly Method Orange are in pole position to win in North America. If they win this next game, they will go through to the grand finals. They will look in perfect shape to complete that triage of achievements, of accomplishments for the Method. For Trill, it's a little bit heart won, heart lost, I suppose, since he's raiding on limit, but he has deprioritized that in favor of Method Orange, and I think his teammates, us on the desk, and a lot of the fans at home will be happy to see them kind of reaping in the benefits of that.
Method trying to win the triathlon of World of Warcraft with the world first raid PvP as well. This is actually unbelievable. Sea-Doo caught up in a stun on his trinkets. Cloud9 are mixing it up, going after the healer a lot more this time around. Let's see if Sea-Doo's ready for it. Ultiman, though, may not be able to keep up the chase. He's being counter-pressured quite heavily.
I think that's a Gladiator safeguard already pulled out. Trill with the Serenity, putting out some big pressure. Interrupt now on Cubsy, and I feel like Cubsy at some point is going to have to be a little bit more conservative with his mana, or try to sneak away for drinks if he really can. Actually, a strategy adaptation here by Cloud9. When in doubt, train the blue, and right now, Sea-Doo, he's looking a little bit blue with how much damage he's taken, trading out the Spearling Totem, trading out the Ascendance, trading out Astral Shift, Trinket. What hasn't he traded out at this point? I mean, Sea-Doo has nothing left.
Yeah, Sea-Doo's used basically every single cooldown there in his arsenal, and Trill right now peeling Snuts a little bit. Not the situation you want to be in. You want to be in a situation where you can leave Snuts with Sea-Doo alone, and you can go after Wealthy Man on that mage. But finally, Sea-Doo's going to get some space from Snuts here. Snuts is, slowed up by Trill, so Sea-Doo should have an easy time avoiding these kidney shots, which means Snuts is going to have to use it on Trill or Mez potentially. Now we see a bash onto Trill, and Wealthy Man setting up for another polymorph here onto Maz. Sea-Doo though snipes to this spot. Here's the Cyclone. This should allow Snuts to connect. The Frozen Orb is ready. Full sheep onto Trill. A lot of trouble for Sea-Doo. Nice Earthen Wall Totem though. Should be able to deflect that.
Sea-Doo doing a great job so far despite Cloud9's relentless assault. I'm almost wondering if they should have gone for a smaller map if this was the strategy. Of course, that would put them with the limitation of Cubsy's inability to drink, but I don't know if he will be able to drink if he ever tries to. The damage output from Method Orange is so much higher with the build adaptations of this Windwalker Death Knight and the purges of Sea-Doo threatening the removal of the Ice Barrier, as well as the Gladiator Safeguard potentially. Sea-Doo once again the target. Wealthy Man spell stealing the Ghost Wolf, trying to remove some of the defense from Sea-Doo to keep pushing forward. Trill though backs him up with a grapple weapon into a Fist of Fury. Snut's going to break out of its snare with the maneuverability sprint to get back on target. Wealthy Man channeling that Ray of Frost, but Sea-Doo counteracting its slowing effect with the Ghost Wolf, then wind shearing Cubsy on a cast, putting him behind two members of Cloud9 very low and on match point. Actually unbelievable to say that Method Orange could quite possibly 3-0 the reigning spring champions. They were looking undefeatable with their Rogue Mage Druid, but after going back into the spell book, into the Essences book, Method Orange have studied up, prepared a strategy that Cloud9 are now the ones that need to adapt to.
Yeah, and that was the defensive blind on Trill right there as well, which means if Sea-Doo's ever in big trouble, he can just trinket out of that. Now Trill, nicely done there with the leg sweep. Sea-Doo though is still in a lot of trouble here. Mez with the anti-magic zone should be able to deflect that situation, but that was scary. Sea-Doo doesn't have his Spearling Totem. He's still in big trouble here. Snuts looking to claim his life. Trill though backing him up with the paralyze. Sea-Doo doing a good job line of sighting Wealthy Man, and now Trill using his trinket as well there in the midst of things, trying to keep his healer alive. And I really want to see Mez and Trill now connect over onto Wealthy Man, get that pressure going. And there's also a kill opportunity onto Cubsy. If Cubsy is too offensive, he could easily die. I honestly want to see Sea-Doo trinket out of one of these stunts and just have him punished. But unfortunately, that was the Serenity of Trill used over onto Snuts. So that kill opportunity kind of lost in this moment in time. And we're going to see Snuts probably recover from here.
This is a perfect strategy for Method Orange. They just have Mez sitting all over Wealthy Man, denying his damage, not allowing him to get on top of Sea-Doo, and Trill just denying Snuts every step of the way using Disable, Fists of Fury Snare, Grapple Weapon, Detox on Sea-Doo, Paralysis on Snuts. Just a lot of defensive tools, and look at Cubsy's mana. He is really struggling in this situation to keep his team alive. Safeguard procs onto Snuts. Ironbark trades out onto Wealthy Man. Mez still all over him, but it's Snuts on the back foot. This could easily be his evasion, and they can't continue the chase on Sea-Doo. They got so close, but Sea-Doo now, he almost has his Astral Shift back up. He's got his Trinket, Spearling Totem. Things are looking really good here for Method Orange.
I actually can't believe it. Method Orange have figured out the answer. We've been sitting here stumped on the desk. All of the teams have been feeling hopeless and trying to find a response to the Rogue Mage Druid, but all along it was still the Windwalker Death Knight. After changing up their build, now they're dealing devastating amounts of damage. Cubsy's burning mana so much more rapidly, and they're forcing cooldowns left and right. I mean, this is a map that Cloud9 should absolutely decimate the Windwalker Death Knight on. So was Toveron, but they're not even close to finding a kill, and you can tell that they're desperate. They're constantly going after Sea-Doo. They haven't even really switched their strategy. Big push here by Trill, making a swap over to Snuts. He could easily just drop. This is going to be a massive touch of death about to explode with that Fortifying Brew, but Snuts sees it coming. He faints right before the touch of death connects alongside Cubsy's Ironbark, making it not even tickle.
Yeah, beautiful stuff there. Snut's going to be able to survive those cooldowns, but he has used his evasion here, so potential for another swap like that with a Vision of Perfection proc or in a minute. Now Cubsy caught up in that asphyxiate stun. Sea-Doo though caught up in a kidney shot, not able to purge out that ice barrier. Mez trading out his anti-magic zone. Cubsy's going to have to look for a drink, and every time he does that, I feel like they should be able to bank themselves at least an ice block, or if not threaten a kill onto Snuts. Snuts holding on to his Vanish though, should be able to allow Cubsy to recover. Cubsy's looking for it. Mez trinkets out. Cubsy sitting down for a restuff. Going to be forced out because of that damage that Trill is doing over onto Snuts. Cubsy needs to just top off everybody and really try to sit down for the drink, but Mez is making it difficult for him with all of these diseases. Sea-Doo now forced to trinket and trade out his Astral Shift on that attempt with the Vendetta, with the Ice Events. Nice Death Creek double leg sweep here from Method Orange, and Trill, Cubsy sitting down for a drink at the back. Let's see, can they stop him? Trill is there. Ring of Peace, is it available? No, he's going to roll over and get him out with that touch of Karma, actually.
Yeah, nicely done by Trill, but he trades out the Karma. A little bit over-aggressive, maybe, but they had to slow down the drink. Trill, he's used to Fuse, he used touch of Karma. He's actually in a fair bit of trouble. Kitty shot lands from Snuts. Can they do it? Pre-fortifying Brew by Trill in order to survive. He's almost out of the crowd control. He's got the Spearling Totem. He definitely doesn't want to have to drop it at this moment in time, and I don't think he will. Cubsy needs to do a good job getting away with that mana once again. Trill forced to use Serenity onto Snuts, and not the worst thing for Snuts. I mean, he trades out the feint. He should be able to soak a lot of that damage, but the pressure's still big. There's a kidney shot, smoke bomb. Sea-Doo in a full polymorph. Trill forced to trinket. He's running. He's hiding. Paralysis on Snuts. He's doing everything he can to escape. Nice Ring of Peace. Trill with beautiful defensive plays, now looking to make an offensive push, but he's caught in midfield. Beautiful Vortex there by Cubsy. Safeguard gets Kleptomania spell stolen away by Wealthy Man. Sea-Doo forced to trade his Ascendants, his Spirit Link, but Method Orange hold on.
Look at the dampening, it's getting higher. Mez is going to become a target soon. Trill is also fully exposed at this point with no defense remaining in his arsenal. Earthen Wall, the last thing left. Sea-Doo needs to make sure he connects that before getting crowd controlled. Polymorph being cast, Sea-Doo in a blind, no way out, and this could be it for Trill. He's trying to push for the kill, but Wealthy Man has 2 blocks. There's no way they're going to be able to get it. Anti-Magic Zone from Mez saving Trill here in quite possibly the final seconds. If it wasn't for that Anti-Magic Zone, Trill stuns Snuts. He portals back, but that Gladiator's Maledict is absorbing a huge amount of heals onto Trill. He's going to have to touch a Karma again. Fortunately, Cubsy was nearby to trade. Now rolling back, hopefully in a line of sight of Sea-Doo shortly. Fist of Fury with that Turbo Fist to dodge Snuts' attacks as Trill backpedals back to Sea-Doo's side. Drop a weapon on Snuts for the follow-up. Trill stalling to the best of his ability at this moment in time. Cubsy getting stunned up, but it may not matter. Trill is taking a huge amount of damage. Diffuse Magic, Fortifying Brew keeps Trill going a little bit longer. It might just be a little bit longer that they need. Gladiator Safeguard going to proc. Wealthy Man's going to bounce back. Snuts down at half, but Trill wants to keep going. But can he?
I just want to see Sea-Doo spam Purge right now. He has such a big mana lead. He has to try to keep Method Orange offensives here somehow. Cubsy going for the game-winning play. Rakes not secured. Kidney shot. Sea-Doo trinketing out of that Cyclone right there. He's going to be able to keep Trill alive, but in about a minute and a half from now, when Snuts gets his blind up, that surely is going to be the game here for C9. So they need to get that mana dumped onto Wealthy Man. I want to see Purge from Sea-Doo here. There it is. Purge is coming out. Wealthy Man forced into the ice block. Now Trill, Sea-Doo needs to recover him before that next CC chain. Cubsy's on top of him. There's the bash on the Spirit Walker's Grace. Can Wealthy Man secure the polymorph? He goes for it. He blinks. He fake casts. Nice grounding totem from Sea-Doo. He's going to deflect. Sea-Doo now swapping side here with Trill. Trill has his trinket, has his touch of Karma coming up in 10 seconds. Wealthy Man is not looking great. Mez is all over him. A lot of damage. Mez is just looking to solo him in that hypothermia. Temporal Shield might just tick, and it's going to keep him alive for how much longer here, Van?
That's a really good question. We'll have to see. Cubsy doing everything he can, but Trill trades up the touch of Karma. Wealthy Man, are you going to make the block? Are you going to play out the offensive play? He does. He blocks the touch of Karma. This is a dangerous move from Wealthy Man, but it might pay off. Sea-Doo gets caught into the full blind. I like that play from Wealthy Man. Cloud9 puts a point on the board, but that was very scary for Cloud9. Method Orange still looks like they're really solid, and I feel like if we're going to a smaller map, it could definitely be their series.
Yeah, I mean, Cloud9 wins that one. Very close. Honestly, we've got to give huge shout out to Wealthy Man for that play, because when you're that close in a game, going for an offensive ice block with your last ice block, it shows a lot of confidence on his side. He knew they were going to get the kill there. Very well played. Maybe Trill kind of trying to bait that. He could have put the Karma over onto Snuts instead for a little bit more defense, but equally, I feel like it's reasonable to say, hey, block my Karma, see what happens. A lot of mages wouldn't go for that. And now it's still 2-1 in Method Orange's favor. They have 2 small maps to bring us to.
Well, you gotta have a lot of faith in your healer in that situation. Wealthy Man definitely making the right call here, trading out his ice block. He knew Cubs is out of mana. This is for sure the right play to make, and I cannot but agree with you, Adrian. A little bit of a throwaway there. If Trill uses Touch of Karma over onto Snuts, I'm not sure exactly if Snuts was in stealth or if Snuts was out of line or something when he did it, but if he could have used it over onto Snuts, that for sure would have been the better play to make. I mean, Mez here basically killing Wealthy Man, surviving with a sliver of health. Method Orange looked like they were in such a dominating position. Snuts as well, quite low on HP here, and Trill, yeah, he should have for sure activated that Touch of Karma over onto Snuts. He was right next to him, and Sidu, unfortunately, trinketed out earlier to save Trill, so that means he cannot trinket out of that bash into blind combo that he was stuck in at the end there. So nicely done by C9, but this comp is looking great for Method Orange.
Yeah, I mean, even a comp that goes 50-50 against the Rogue Mage, they're going to fancy. It does seem like Cloud9, if they do pick up their defensive play, they at least have a shot in the matchup. It's not completely one-sided in favor of Method Orange for sure, but now Method Orange, they will have the advantage of the maps, and as we know, one of the big challenges against Frost Mage Druid is reaching them, so a smaller map, a smaller playing field going to help, I mean, huge amounts.
What map are we going to? That's the question, I guess. We're going to have to wait and see.
I'd like to see Blades.
Yeah, Blades Edge.
Yeah, I like Blades Edge a lot too.
That could be fun, yeah.
It's good defensive
Transcendence, yeah.
posturing for Trill. Here's one of the things. I think Cloud9 had made a really intelligent strategy adaptation. By going after Sidu, it forces Trill defensive. And what did we see from the first and second game? If Trill has uptime on Wealthy Man's dead. Cubsy's out of mana really quickly. So the fact that the fact that Snuts can go after Sidu, and if Trill doesn't come and save him, Sidu's just dead, he really forces Trill in this kind of defensive situation where he's trading out Serenity on Snuts, which it's nice to put out pressure, but like I said, I mean, Snuts, if he just faints, it's so much damage lost from Trill. He's not really able to force out too much. It just doesn't seem like Snuts is ever really going to fall down outside of maybe a miracle attempt from Trill. Overall, it's a great strat to force Trill a lot more defensive in the match.
What would you think about, so I think you make a good point, that Snuts made an adaptation. He's like, okay, if I sit on the Shaman, I will kill Sidu unless Trill comes back to peel, which frees up Wealthy Man a little bit, but should Mez be also coming back to attack Snuts? Because I play a lot of melee cleaves on my Druid, and it feels like if you're splitting on Mage Rogue, then what ends up happening is the guy that splits on the Mage just gets taken out of the game by the Mage Druid, right? And that's kind of what happened to Mez. Maybe he should be coming back on Snuts a little bit as well, just to kind of generate some pressure, at least on one target. I
actually like that Mez stays in, but I want Trill to leave Sidu more. I think that if Mez ever can grip Snuts, like when Sidu is running around the pillar and Snuts is running around the pillar as well trying to reach him, if Mez can ever kind of catch him when he's on his side of that pillar, grip him, drop the chains of eyes on him, that's going to be more than enough for Sidu to survive for the next, 15, 20 seconds. Yeah. That's an opening for Trill to go in and use his Serenity and dump a lot of damage onto Wealthy Man. And then when they have pressure, Sidu's not going to get soloed by Snuts. If Wealthy Man is on 20%, running for his life, I feel like if Snuts uses his kidney shot on anyone who's not one of those melees, they might just kill him through it. So I want to see if Trill can potentially leave Sidu when it's not those super dire situations. However, it's going to be a much smaller map, so I feel like those kind of strategies and those kind of things that we're discussing are a little bit more important on a large map than they will be on this map. On this map, I think it's a little bit more zug-zug.
But I mean, it is important still, because on this small map, if Snuts does go after Sidu, it does leave Method Orange with this dilemma, right? Where if Trill is forced to come back, then they're suddenly going to lose a lot of the benefit of this smaller map if they just can't use their offensive cooldowns on Wealthy Man.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a balancing act. Just like Zico said, you really have to, save Sidu and then trust that he's going to be able to survive. I don't think you can sit on the Rogue the entire game. doesn't generate enough pressure. Wealthy Man has to be pressured, and I think if they can continue that pressure on Wealthy Man like we saw in game number 1, game number 2, that's the game-winning strategy for Method Orange, where they can eventually capitalize on the purge of Sea-Doo. But it's not easy for Sea-Doo in this situation. If he gets too over-aggressive with Snuts sitting on him, you know, he's susceptible to the kidney shot, kleptomania with no Ghost Wolf. All of a sudden, he's feeling pretty naked every single one of those stun locks, and it can be overwhelming damage coming in from the Rogue Mage.
Sid, I know you're a huge fan of this strategy from Method Orange. You've been wanting to watch this from them the entire year, I'm pretty sure. Just go back to your old strategy, go back to damage, pure damage. Trill with talent adaptations, Mez with talent adaptations, they're back to their former selves.
Well, Sea-Doo, I think, was riding Shaman off for a little bit too long, and it's good to see them back in fighting form, our reigning BlizzCon champions. If they could take out Cloud9, make it to the finals, I mean, they're looking solid to take this cup and potentially take the next cup as well, unless someone can find an answer to their composition now as they look to break the meta. They're going to have the map advantage. Can Sea-Doo stay alive throughout the attack of Cloud9? And can Mez and Trill generate pressure while Sea-Doo is dealing with their attacks is going to be the question as the gates open.
Yeah, let's see here. Hook Point could be the last game here for this series. Method Orange certainly looking to try to make it that way. Snuts moving in here. Let's see what kind of opener can he get. There's a double cheap shot here on the DPS, and it looks like Cloud9 are going to be going after Sea-Doo. Garrote into kidney shot secured. Wealthy Man blinking forward to get that frozen orb, but nice response here from Mez with that anti-magic zone. Now Trill should have a lot of uptime here. Seeing, oh, Cubsy actually the target of choice here, but Trill wasn't there. If Trill was there, that could have been potential danger. Now defensive blind immediately out of Snuts here should keep Cubsy alive. Cubsy's playing that feral affinity. This is danger time for Cubsy.
Yeah, so definitely a little scary. I actually wish Trill trinketed out of the blind. I think they could have kept up the pressure. Instead, they lost a lot of their offensive momentum. Trill sat a full blind into a sap, now in a polymorph, really unable to get any sort of damage out. Sea-Doo's still in some trouble. I think that might have been a little bit of a mistake, but we'll have to see how it plays out. I liked the fact that they tried to punish Cubsy as much as possible, and I mean, Trill still has a lot of damage available. The next stun on Cubsy could be absolutely devastating.
All right, let's see if this ends up being a healer race. Sea-Doo is the main target for Cloud9 again, trying to duck around the corner. It's all about Mez supporting him with that Chains of Ice. That's currently in that. Cubsy's trying to add some extra damage. That was the strategy from the Rogue Mage Druids in the past, is run the Feral Affinity and attack the healer. It could end up working out for them. Cloud9 switch gears off of defense to full offense. Can Sea-Doo keep dealing with the attacks? It looks like they're still quite far behind in terms of ice blocks, not having even gotten one from Wealthy Man yet. Gladiator Safeguard going to proc for Sea-Doo. Ends up getting shredded or worn off over time. Now Snuts is getting a lot of damage out. Cubsy's jumping in as well, and if 3 members of Cloud9 can connect, I'm not sure how much how longer Sea-Doo can handle this.
Yep, Sea-Doo caught up in a kidney shot right there. Trill using his trinket there on a cyclone, but getting immediately recycled. Now, Wealthy Man is in a lot of trouble. If Sea-Doo can get a couple of purges out while he's on DR, that could potentially net Method Orange a lot of pressure. Right now, Sea-Doo is on stun DR, so he's just tanking out Snuts' damage. Behind this pillar on the opposite side of the map. Chains of Ice doing a lot of work here onto Wealthy Man, making it difficult for him to connect, but Cubsy and Snuts, they might just stand up Sea-Doo and go for a solo play here. Sea-Doo just refusing to leave that Ghost Wolf form, as he knows it's guaranteed healing while he sits in that, while he is stunned. Snuts committing the Vendetta here. Sea-Doo might have to trade the Astral Shift.
I would be sitting that Ghost Wolf form too. I mean, at this point, Sea-Doo, he needs to try to stay in Ghost Wolf as long as possible. There's no damage on Mez. There's no damage on Trill. All Sea-Doo really has to do, throw in some wind shears, throw in some grounding totems, and stay in Ghost Wolf. Survive as long as he possibly can. Right now, Method Orange looking like they just left the gates with Sea-Doo's mana. I mean, it's literally 100%, whereas Cubsy, he's had to use quite a bit. He's down to 60%. Trill looking to get aggressive right now with Serenity, but using it on Snuts. Grapple weapon on Snuts. Good split pressure here from Method Orange. Trill taking a little bit of damage as well, but it just seems like right now Method Orange, in terms of pressure, they have a lead.
I hope Sea-Doo prepared the cellar, because it's tornado season here with Cloud9 going straight for him. Sea-Doo anticipating an attack, activating the Astral Shift. although not lined up with Vendetta, and that's a big opening for Snuts in about 58 seconds. So Sea-Doo's read there going to be punished, getting baited a bit on this attack. I am wondering if Method Orange should switch targets and stop going after Wealthy Man if this is the strategy that Cloud9 are looking to employ. The Feral Affinity of Cubsy is getting way too much value. Sea-Doo so far behind the Earthen Wall Totem, it needs to be enough, but it may not be. Sea-Doo's going to try and retreat away, and it does appear to be the case that Method Orange are switching targets, going after Snuts much more as a priority to try and protect Sea-Doo. If they can get them off Sea-Doo and allow him to utilize those purges, that's going to enable Method Orange a lot more potential to win the match.
Yep, that unfortunate Paralyze broke right there. They were trying to go for that Paralyze Capacitator Totem combo we were talking about a little bit earlier. Sea-Doo now in a lot of trouble here, Bash, but it's DR, Cubsy. Might still force out the Spirit. Actually, he doesn't have Spirit Link Totem. Sea-Doo might just go down here in a lot of trouble, exiting the Anti-Magic Zone's defense, and Cloud9 tying up the series 2-2.
Yeah, the map kind of backfired there for Method Orange. It does seem like Cloud9 are figuring out the weakness of the Shaman. Of course, Pack Spirit was nerfed. That was one of the main strengths of the Shaman in the past. And now it does seem like this Rogue Mage, they're kind of rogue. They're doing the Mage Druid, right? They're just crowd controlling the DPS, tunneling the healer. And it's so difficult for Sea-Doo to survive throughout that pressure, especially with the Feral Affinity.
Sea-Doo needs a bigger pillar. They should have gotten a Robodrome. I really feel like Robodrome's smaller map with the bigger pillars would have been a lot better. I mean, the key to survival for Sea-Doo is making sure he can get out of line of sight. And on these small pillars, it's just one step away from Cubsy and Snuts to really land those stuns and damage on top of him.
Blackrock Hold would be better. They can use the entrance room, so when they switch to Snuts, Cubsy and Wealthy Man have to come close. They have to go into the room, and then when everyone's stacked up in the room, they can use Ring of Peace to block the door. They could stack them up. I think that's the problem. Method Orange aren't able to get Cloud9 to stack up. Cubsy's staying far away from the pillar. Wealthy Man is too, and they just crowd control Mez and Trill the whole game based on positioning. I'm a fan of Blackrock Hold.
I really think that they should go after Cubsy.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same.
I think Method Orange aren't used to their new shiny guns here, because Cubsy is the one who really setting up these kills. Cubsy is on top of Sea-Doo. They're behind the pillar. They can easily connect to him. One leg sweep, he has to trinket out immediately. And then if they ever connect on him again when he doesn't have trinket, he's just gonzo.
Yeah, I feel like they've got basically nuclear weapons attacking a Druid that isn't even playing the Guardian Affinity. They have the Purge, they have Wind Shear and Grounding to deny Wealthy Man's peels. Like, they have the tools potentially for a kill on the Druid. Either way, we're tied up 2-2 between Cloud9 and Method Orange. We're going to Game 5 in what has been a fantastic series. 2-2 it stands between Cloud9 and Method Orange, the closest that Method Orange have got to defeating Cloud9 in this entire season. It's off the bat of a lot of talent adaptations, class adaptations, the Restoration Shaman for Sea-Doo back to his main class, the class we saw him winning tournaments on Classic, the class we've seen him winning tournaments in previous expansions on the live servers as well. He'll be so happy to be at home here, and he's one game away from knocking Cloud9 down.
Yeah, and they have the map pick, they have the comp advantage, and they are going to go to the Robodrome. So this is going to be it. I just want to see them punish Cubsy more. If Cubsy goes in like that, if he plays Feral Affinity, they need to show him, hey, you're playing Feral Affinity into Windwalker DK with one-shot talents. They just need to one-dig him.
Yep, well, we'll have to see if they can one-deke Cubsy. One-deking Cloud9. I mean, I think people have tried almost everything into Cloud9 at this point. Nothing really has worked consistently, at least. Method Orange, they're looking to get their first series victory, and we're going to your favorite map, Benruki, the beautiful, the mechanical Robodrome.
I think this is everyone's favorite map. Look at how beautiful it really is. And on this map, it's small enough to be nice and advantage for a cleave, but it's also got large enough pillars that it's going to really help Sea-Doo sort of kite around with that Ghost Wolf. And I think what the main objective is for Mez and Trill, first and foremost, if Cubsy's getting a little ahead of himself, just take him out of the game. Just delete him as fast as you possibly can. However, if that isn't the case, it is difficult for Wealthy Man to actually get on target in this map. Especially with Mez using Death Grip and Chains of Ice, snaring him up. If Sea-Doo's just kiting around, it will be really difficult for him to get out significant damage. If
Robodrome doesn't end up working out in Cloud9 Advance, I still would love to see a Blades Edge Arena or a Blackrock Hold as a map attempt for the Windwalker Death Knight Shaman. I feel like those maps could also have good strategies for stacking up the Rogue Mage Druid. Here we see a blind with no Gladiator's Medallion. This is devastating. Cloud9 are mixing up their strategies and trying to catch Method Orange off guard in Game 5, but they're unable to get the sap because Trill grapple weapon snuts, and you cannot sap while you are disarmed. That was beautifully done by Trill, denying the crowd control chain, and now Sea-Doo and Trill look to retreat away. This is the problem with the Robo-Drum, I believe, is that Wealthy Man can drag Mez pretty far away. Cubsy can spread out as well, and if they're not stacked up, it's very difficult for Method Orange to really attack any target.
Yeah, and right now, Cubsy applying his bleeds here over onto Sea-Doo. He's in cat form. Here is a lot of damage. There it is. We're going to see what is Trill going to do. He's going to be going after Snuts here in this situation. Earthen Wall Totem is going to deflect that attack. Cubsy's going to be running away. Okay, Cubsy just trinketed right there. Trill has Touch of Death. Trill has Serenity. There is no defense whatsoever. They both have all trinkets, all breakers. I feel like this could be a big mistake from Cubsy. If they paralyze Cubsy, if Cubsy just goes to Sea-Doo right now and they paralyze him, he is a dead man walking. As long as that paralyze doesn't break and Trill gets his Touch of Death out in it, there is no way Cubsy survives that. No chance whatsoever. They just need to keep going after Snuts, get Cubsy to overcommit again in cat form like that. And that is it. That is lights out. So I want to see them do that, exactly that right now. Naz looking to interrupt Wealthy Man a little bit here. Nice CC chain over onto Sea-Doo.
Kill Cubsy.
A lot of trouble. Touch of Karma might be trading out.
Yeah, use Touch of Karma. I want it on Cubsy. Kill Cubsy, but they're going after Snuts. Maybe they can take him down. Big burst damage potential, but if that had just been on Cubsy instead, I really feel like that's a massive missed opportunity here from Method Orange. And now Trill, he's in so much trouble. Fortifying Brew as well as his Battlemaster trade out, but the kidney shot lands from Snuts. Sea-Doo gets caught into the Rake Stun, trades out the Spearling Totem. Trill ultimately will survive, but that's off the back of quite a bit of defense from Method Orange.
Method Orange trying to kill Snuts here. Touch of Death about to explode. No Iron Bark available. Potential big push here. Vanishing the Touch of Death, immuning its damage. Beautifully done. Cloud9 had no other answer. Snuts adequately trading. Now Trill is in trouble. Sea-Doo's in crowd control. So is Mez. It's 3 versus 1. Trill trying to escape to safety. Diffuse magic to remove Gladiator's Maledict's absorption effect. A couple of Vivifies, but a couple of Vivifies may not be enough. Ring of Peace blocks one side. Snuts has to wrap around the other, but Wealthy Man is snaring him up. Sea-Doo is still in a clone. There's no Spearling Totem. Bash is going to be trinketed, but there's really not much remaining. Fist of Fury, Snuts gets stunned. Trill stays alive, but now Sea-Doo doesn't have Gladiator's Medallion for blind in the future, and Trill still has nothing to stay alive. This is not looking good for Method Orange.
Yeah, a lot of crowd control here. Sea-Doo again caught up in the polymorph, and C9 seems to have cracked the code here. Snuts using his every man for himself ratio to break out of that leg sweep. Trill is going to try to kite here. 6 seconds on that Touch of Karma. Can he get around the corner here? Vivifies are coming out. He activates the Serenity just to get more heals. Cubsy is literally standing there while Trill has Serenity active, just hitting him, doing tons of damage. And now Cubsy once again looking for that crowd control, jumping over onto Sea-Doo. Sea-Doo in that kidney shot. Cloud9 is just all over Method Orange right now.
It's got to be a world first, watching a Windwalker Monk activate Serenity to heal himself up. Definitely an interesting choice, but I mean, Trill does manage to survive. That was a really difficult situation for him to live, but off the back of good kiting, good ability usage with this Turbo Fist, Fist of Fury, his Ring of Peace, he does manage to hold on. And Method Orange, they're not out of it yet. Polymorph on Sea-Doo, now Mez looking to be the target, but with no dampening, I don't see Mez going down at this point unless they CC Sea-Doo basically forever. Anti-Magic Cell trades out by Mez. He's going to be all over Wealthy Man in this situation, but Mez is still not getting topped off. This is a little bit scary.
Is Gladiator Safeguard going to proc? Does Wealthy Man have a spell steal? Looks like he does. Mez is still in trouble. Icebound Fortitude fades. Sea-Doo maybe not ready for this much pressure on Mez. It's looking like a struggle for him to be able to recover. Stun Vendetta, big push here from Snuts. Cloud9 look to close it out. Sea-Doo is stunned. Cubsy switches over the Cyclone, wasn't able to get it. Unfortunate for Cloud9. Now Wealthy Man on the back foot. Finally, Method Orange able to connect some damage. They need to net nice block with this push, but they're not finding it. Big heals in from Cubsy. Iron Bark, is it going to be enough? Serenity doing a lot of pain. Mez trying to stay on target, but still being pushed back. If Mez is in this much trouble with no dampening, it's going to be dangerous for him moving forwards so long as Cubsy can maintain a lot of mana.
Yeah, but now Trill, he's getting to play really aggressive in the matchup. There's no Temporal Shield. There's no Iron Bar. Cubsy gets interrupted. That's an Ice Block. That's overlapped with Gladiator Safeguard. And that is not a good situation for Cloud9 to find themselves in.
Yeah, and Sea-Doo just got his Trinket Spirit Link combo back there as well. So Sea-Doo has all of his defense. Trill has his Touch of Karma. Mez is the only target here for Method Orange, really looking like he's going to be in trouble. Mez now in a kidney shot, but he should be okay for now. Blind comes out from Snuts. Sea-Doo Trinkets out of that one. Sea-Doo caught up in a camp spell for a couple of more seconds. Trill in a Polymorph. Dispels the Polymorph. Snuts now in an Asphyxiate stun here. And I want to see Trill and Mez get back on target here. They're back over onto Wealthy Man. They have a mana win condition here as well. Cubsy deflecting with the Iron Bark, trading it out for that Fortifying Brew Touch of Death combo. A lot of damage. Sea-Doo spamming up.
Oh!
Big hit there from the Touch of Death. A lot of cooldowns forced out here. That was the Iron Bark as well as the Ice Block coming out of C9.
We're going to need a Touch of Death counter for how hard that one just hit. Wealthy Man stays alive, but it costs him potentially his final ice. It is going to be the final Ice Block of the games if Cloud9 end up
Serenity.
losing. Mana is not looking good, and Method Orange, suddenly they're stable. The game was totally out of their control for the first 5 minutes, but they have been in complete control for the last minute and a half, and it may be that minute and a half that is all that matters. Snuts is desperate. He's trying to go after Sea-Doo, but Wealthy Man has no Ice Blocks. I don't think he's going to be able to support. Cubsy has very limited mana. He needs to try and drink, but I don't think he's going to get the chance to. Trill using Diffuse Magic to break crowd control and try and get uptime. Cubsy stunning up Mez, trying to help Wealthy Man, but Mez disrupts it. Snuts is still trying to kill Sea-Doo, but not really finding any pressure there. Cubsy gets a stun. Wealthy Man locked down. No Serenity, fortunately, but Cubsy Iron Barks anyway. Now that's a big opening for Trill in the near future.
Yeah, I mean, this is looking good. That Touch of Death actually hit for almost 100,000 for Trill, so it's definitely a massive wombo combo with the Fortifying Brew, with the Battle Masters, and now Wealthy Man finds himself in a situation where he does not have an Ice Block for quite some time. Cubsy's almost completely tapped on mana. Cloud9 looking to reverse the pressure, trying to abuse Mez and dampening, but I'm not sure it's going to work out. I feel like Wealthy Man's in so much trouble.
Yeah, and now all they need to do is connect over to Wealthy Man. This could be the final push. Sea-Doo, can you purge off the Temporal Shield? He's trying. He gets it. Sea-Doo keeps spamming out those purges. This could be Method Orange. Final push for the win here. Cubsy has barely any mana left. Sea-Doo has every cooldown to trade. Honestly, I just want to see Sea-Doo activate the Astral Shift and just spam
Serenity.
out the purge. Serenity comes out. This could be it.
Yeah, Wealthy Man in so much trouble. It's getting low. Massive damage from Mez and Trill as Wealthy Man gets the Shimmer and survives. Cubsy with no mana tops him off. Unbelievable, but Trill still has the Touch of Death. He's got the Wombo combo available. Can Wealthy Man survive 100,000 Touch of Death? We're going to find out.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Method Orange are about to do the impossible. They are about to defeat Rogue Mage. Huge Touch of Death, blind. Even though Trill is in a blind. Cubsy does manage to stay alive. Trill blind saps Sea-Doo in a poly. Cloud9 going after Mez now and dampening. Mez could be a liability. Sea-Doo is still crowd control. Mez breaks out. He knows that it's do or die. Sea-Doo needs to spend the last bit of his mana purging. This is it. They have to do the all-in while Cubsy is stunned into the paralysis. They have the perfect situation, the perfect storm to take out Cloud9. Just a couple more purges from Sea-Doo. He's got barely enough mana to do it. Trying to work through the Temp Shield. Temp Shield now over. Ironbark's defense is looking limited at 25% dampening. Mez should just trinket this, in my opinion. Trill stunned up. Why is he not trinketing the Cyclone? The game is basically over. They have to kill him in this push. They're not going to be able to now. Wealthy Man retreating away.
Yeah, Wealthy Man's running. He's trying to hide. What can they get done? Method Orange are looking to make a push. Still have the Serenity, but still, Wealthy Man survives. Really good kiting.
I feel like Mez should have just used Anti-Magic Shell there, and Trill should have just trinketed aggressively. Now comes out the Touch of Karma before the kidney shot. Nicely done right there, but Wealthy Man is recovering. Ice Block on a 45-second CD. He has Temporal Shield. Cubsy has his Iron Bark again. They can't afford to drag on the game for too long. Method Orange is letting the game pass through their grasp. They need to connect onto Wealthy Man. Sea-Doo loving out the Lava Burst. Cubsy taking quite a bit of damage here as well, just passively from that Fist of Fury. Trill in a lot of trouble here. Sea-Doo doesn't have the Spirit Link totem. How are you going to keep him alive, Sea-Doo? Snuts with the kidney shot onto Sea-Doo. Do they have any follow-up? Beautiful leg sweep. Trill is looking to claim the game, and he does it.
He does it, but is it enough? Trill's still low.
Yeah, I think he's going to be fine. He's okay.
It looks like he's okay. Well, Method Orange. I mean, surely they've done it, right? They have Anti-Magic Zone. They have everything in the tank. I mean, they're going to play it out. I don't blame them.
I definitely can't blame them in this situation, but it looks like Trill's going to be healthy. He's got the touch of karma coming up in 25 seconds.
Yeah,
Sidu's going to be able to keep him alive, and that is such an impressive victory for Method Orange. It really felt like Cloud9 was going to battle it back, but they managed to hold on. They came prepared with the compositions, with the strategies, and with the surprise that Cloud9 wasn't prepared for.
Yeah, a surprise that Cloud9 wasn't prepared for, but of course, if Cloud9 does win in the lower bracket against M2KC, they will have a second shot at Method Orange in the grand finals. But I mean, the moment belongs to Sidu. The moment belongs to Method Orange here. They came up with an answer, and I think this is the first time, except for Wildcard earlier with their series against Change My Mind, this is the first time we've seen one of these top Rogue Mage Druids actually eliminated or like knocked down in a series. Absolutely phenomenal for Method Orange, whether it's the gameplay, whether it's the talent selection. The entire thing made sense, well executed in the end. It was close, but they come out with the 3-2 victory.
Yeah, it looked dire there for a while, but Method Orange, they managed to reconnect onto Wealthy Man and find that win. And this was one of the key moments in the game here. You can see Trill fortifying Brew, increasing his HP. Battle Masters, increasing his HP. Touch of Death for 100,000 through Iron Bark is gonna make entire Cloud9 just use every cooldown in the game. And this was the situation that really put them ahead, because that was, you can see here, both ice blocks basically coming up at the same time. If Wealthy Man could have spaced them out a little bit, he probably would have had an ice block at this point in the game, and all of a sudden that would have been Cloud9's game to win. So nicely executed there by Trill with that one-shot build that he's running on that Windwalker. And then here at the end, they managed to get Cubsy completely tapped on mana. They managed to reconnect for a little bit more. Sidu trinketing out, getting a couple of extra purges, lobbing out a few lava bursts. Fake casts the Shadow Step kick there. Snuts smoke bombing that heal, kidney shotting Trill, but it's not going to be enough. Kidney shotting Sidu, sorry, but it's not going to be enough. Trill reconnecting with that leg sweep, with that Serenity, Mez with the Death Grip, and Trill with the kick to the head.
Yeah, I mean, Trill really showed why we sometimes call him Mr. World of Warcraft here, because he is a bit of everything. You talk about him being in Limit, being an Officers there, playing out fantastically well in the World First race. Now here in the tournaments, he could do everything. You know, he brings out these wacky builds that do one-shots. He plays defensively fantastically. Serenity to heal, you were saying that was his World First, someone actually using a Serenity as a heal to stay alive.